It's crazy. I get chills, honestly, thinking about it. The first time I went to summer league was like in 2009, and I was just finding a way to be around the game. So like I get chills talking about it. For Coach Kerr, and Mike and Kirk and Joe and Peter, for everyone to give me this opportunity it's an opportunity of a lifetime. I told the guys like I'm excited. I lost my voice already kind of in day one. Like it's a huge opportunity that I'm so thankful for, and we're just trying to do our best to put them in a position to succeed.
How the first few days been, and what's a practice like with Jacob Rubin as the head coach?
So today was the first day of practice. It's get your work in and get off your feet. That's the type of practice it is. It's a lot of defense. It's a lot of defense. It's a lot of ball movement, sharing the ball, just trying to instill in them what it's going to take to play for us, what it's going to take to win. They know point blank period we're going to compete at the highest level. Every team who comes in against us knows we're going to compete. They're going to really have to bring it to play against us. It means ball movement in everything we do. That's just one of the things we do is share the ball. And then it's a big part of our practice is being a great teammate because that's who we are here.
How do you kind of combine obviously wanting to win, but have like the player development in summer league too? Like what's the challenge like that as a coach?
Yeah, for sure. So I think it's actually, I talked to the guys about this. We want to win. There's no doubt about it. But that's kind of the result. The goal is the process of trying to get better every single day. So, we're going to have to live with some growing pains, especially from some of our rookies, some of our first year guys that we have. But that's just what makes it more fun. And just trying to put them in a position where they don't have to think, just put them in a position where they can play fast, play quick, and play free, and hope that we continue to just give them little things that we want them to work on that we think will translate. But I think if we do those things, I think it will translate to winning.
For guys like Brandon or Trace and stuff, how much is what you are trying to implement with them, how the Warriors view what their roles can be versus this is a completely separate group of guys. It's going to be different. Yeah,
it's a good question. We're figuring it out. I think Coach Kerr has given me a little bit of freedom to kind of just put some stuff in that I think will be good for us. I think for everyone watching, it'll be a nice little blend of who we are, but of some things we might be able to do better, some stuff we thought we lacked last season that maybe we can focus on and get better for this season. So we'll sprinkle some stuff in that's a little different, but at our core, we'll always kind of look like who we are. And I think the great thing is when we have this many guys, there's so many reps, we're also able to pull guys like Brandon and Trace aside and just hit them with certain things that they might need to know for like a Warriors game that maybe is sort of coming up, but not really coming up for a summer league game. Brandon, he's asked a ton of questions already. Some of them were questions that in summer league he might not face, but it's like you can already start to see like he's thinking the game at a high level. And so it's great to just have those conversations and get everyone on the same page.
Coach, what are your overall impressions of Brandon and Trace, and what can you tell us about Javon Johnson you guys picked up on draft night?
All three of them compete. That's for sure. Javon brings it. Like you can just kind of tell he has this ability to just play fast and get to the basket and get paint touches and kind of create chaos downhill. Obviously, he's a really good athlete, and he can shoot it with his feet set. So there's a lot of stuff that he can help us out with Summer League. And then for Brandon and Trace, it's great because they just fit in. They just have kind of fit in seamlessly to how we want to play in Summer League. They'll fit in, with how we want to play with the big club. Both of them have great feel. Both of them have great IQ. They can play with the ball in their hands. They can both play with the ball off their hands. Whether Trace is playing like in the dunker, working behind the defense, he's done a great job of like following the help and cutting from the weak side. But I think what shocked me is both of them can do both, right? Usually it's like you got to sacrifice one, but both of them so far have stood out in their individual workouts and in the team stuff we're doing with just being able to play with the ball and without the ball. And then they just kind of have a knack for getting to the ball, like getting to the ball, getting to the basket, creating angles where the defense might have cut you off and all of a sudden it's an up and under or some footwork, whatever it is to get to the basket. So they're both crafty, getting to their left hands around the basket.
You had mentioned that Steve's given you the freedom to kind of do who the Warriors are, and then also address some things that you guys lacked last season. What specifically do you feel like you guys were missing last year that you're referencing?
That's probably something that Coach Kerr is a little more at bay to share with you guys. I think what everything comes down to is quick decisions and decision making. So we're really focusing on being efficient in the half court. We're working on being quick and efficient in transition. So without getting into the details of what he exactly would want, I think when you watch us, you'll hopefully see that we're playing quick, we're making better decisions, and we're trying to simplify the game so those decisions are a little bit easier to make on both ends of the floor.
You talked about this briefly a second ago, but what does a successful summer league look like for guys like Lester, guys like Pajimski, and of course the other draft picks, and then some of the younger guys that have been with you guys but are playing again this season? From the perspective of a coaching staff, what is a successful summer league?
Yeah, I think everything starts with defense. For us, it's going to start with defense. So with all those guys, Lester, Brandon, Trace, like, can they guard? Can they guard their position? Can they guard other positions, right? So we want to put them in an environment where they can do that. We'd like to win, but we're not going to try and win at like sacrificing who we are in the development of those guys because they're a big piece of what we want to do. So we just have to find the balance. We want to get them playing time. We want to put them in positions, like I mentioned earlier, to succeed. But I think it can be an individual answer for all of them, but it's how can we get them on the floor and how can we keep them on the floor and try to minimize mistakes and try to maximize the decisions that kind of put us in an advantage in the defense or offense at a disadvantage.
What have you guys noticed as a staff and you maybe individually noticed about Lester's evolution or growth from last year to this year?
He has something to his game. He has something to his game. I think a big thing with him is just continuing to be consistent with it, right? That's kind of what separates like the people in the league who are great, from those levels is how consistent can he be? But his work ethic is right up there with anyone. You can tell he's more confident. He's more quick in his decisions. I think the game has started to slow down a little bit for him. And like, there's a little bit of like, okay, I'm Lester, like I belong here. And I think that's kind of his confidence has translated. He needs to continue to work on both sides of the ball, defensively and offensively. He's dynamic, but we need to make sure he's consistent, making plays for others, making plays for himself, always keeping it simple, but doing the right things.
For Brandon, the shooting numbers obviously stood out big time, but with defense, how can he improve there during the summer, and what does improving on defense look like to you?
Yeah. I would say what we try and do is we try and simplify the situations he's going to see, and we try to rep it out as much as possible. We don't want to overload him, but he's someone who's definitely willing to kind of hear more from us. Just honing in on angles and understanding positioning on defense on and off the ball. Like, there's a way to take advantage of everything. Everyone lacks something defensively, but if we can build the mind, if we can build the body to kind of see things and know what's coming next, I think that's what puts him at an advantage for us. So we're going to test him. We're going to make him really guard. But I think through trial and error, he's going to figure it out. And we've already started working on just, can you see the pictures? The earlier you see the pictures, the more you're able to react, the earlier you can be there. And it's kind of just 5 guys on a string. That's how it works for us. So we're working with him on it. We do it kind of in an individual scenario. And then I kind of opened it defensively in practice. I promise you we're working on that for sure.
What's some of the advice you've gotten from your fellow assistant coaches or from Coach Kerr when you were named the Summer League coach?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. I was talking with my wife about this, but if you think back to when I started here to where I am now, the people who've been on these staffs, it's crazy. Like, there's so much basketball knowledge that has been passed down. I think the biggest thing that people have told me is be me. I just am who I am for whatever reason it is. And, just to keep things simple, but preach what you believe what you preach. So I just try to be as genuine and authentic as possible. That's kind of been the biggest thing. And is, trust your instincts, trust what you've been through, right? I'm going into year 8 here. So just trust what you've been through, and just let it go. Like, just be who you are and see what happens with it.